Welcome back to Trust Me, I'm a Superhero. It's your boy at Mr. Marcus260 on Twitter and Snapchat, and at Tyrion_Lannister260 on Instagram. And today I want to ask you guys a serious question. Is Colin Kaepernick Muhammad Ali? Now, before y'all lose your mind, I'm not talking about is he the GOAT? Is he the greatest of all time like Ali is with boxing? But I'm talking about being ostracized in the sport that you play. Like Ali was when he decided that he was not going to go to Vietnam just because the government decided he was going to go to Vietnam. He famously said, "Ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigger." And what that means is that why would I go over there and kill some people that I don't ever have a problem with when I'm fighting a war here at home? And you know what they did for that? People forget this. The same old men who are telling you how great Ali was and how good he was and how amazing he was and how he was just the GOAT and how he was just the best and how he stood on his principles were the ones yelling and screaming at him and hoping that they took all his belts from him. And they did. They took all of his belts from him. He was poor for years during the prime of his career. And as a boxer, you can't afford to waste the prime of your career. But he did all of this on principle because he said he was not going to go to Vietnam, and that was it. Even though he probably was not going to see any action, and they even tried to work out a deal where he did some just some boxing matches to kind of, just some little boxing matches for the troops and stuff like that, and that would be his way of serving, and he refused to even do that on the principle of, why would I go and fight in your war or even participate in your war when I don't even have the rights of a human being in this country that I live in right now? And they shit on him for that for years. Now, when he got MS and when he had MS or when he had Parkinson's, he had MS. When he got MS, then all of a sudden he's such an icon and we love him and he's lighting the torch in Atlanta and all of that shit. But that's not how they treated him then. You know how they treated him then? Like Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, who the worst thing he's ever done is not stand up for a song that he doesn't feel fully represents him as a black man in America. Now, what people like to forget is that Colin Kaepernick was raised by two white missionaries. Okay, he was adopted when he was a baby. His mother didn't want to keep him because she was pregnant by a black man and she didn't want to have a baby, a mixed race baby. So she gave him up for adoption. And these two white people raised him. You know what they raised him? They raised him on be kind to people. Treat everyone the same. Love people. Love is the most important thing. So if you want to blame somebody for Colin Kaepernick's actions, blame them. Because they put it in his head that we are all equal and we're all the same, when he's learning a hard lesson that we are not. Not by any means. Colin Kaepernick took his team to the Super Bowl 4 years ago. And now he doesn't have a job anywhere in the NFL. And people like to point out that he had a horrible season 2 years ago. Peyton Manning had a horrible season when he had his neck injury and nothing happened. Peyton Manning had a horrible season his last year he was playing when they had to bench him. Nobody talks shit about Peyton Manning, though, because he stood up for the anthem. And I like Peyton Manning as a player. I like Peyton Manning as a person in general. I feel like he's a really great dude, but he also had horrible years. Colin Kaepernick was hurt. He had several surgeries. And then when he came back, you know how he played last year after they had him benched because he wasn't standing for the anthem? You know how he played? He threw 16 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. You know who else had numbers like that? Hardly anyone in the NFL last season. He was on a horrible team, so nobody gave a fuck. But let's not forget, he single-handedly, rewatch those football games. Rewatch the 100+ some yards that he put on the ground against Green Bay in Green Bay to take them through the playoffs. Okay, that year that they went to the Super Bowl. Rewatch all of that stuff. He was the reason that they went to the Super Bowl. He was the reason that they were close. Now all of a sudden he's not a good quarterback when he's not standing up for the anthem. This is what happens when you stand on principle. This is what happens. But I'm not here for that. What I'm saying is Colin Kaepernick Muhammad Ali in 20 years. When we look back on the fact that he has donated tons of food and tons of money and raised awareness and leading classes and teaching young men their rights and trying to keep black people from getting killed in the streets. When we look back on this in 25 years, the same people who are talking shit about him now and writing letters to their owners of the NFL teams that don't want him to play for them, those same people are going to be talking about how much integrity he had and how great of a guy he was and how he stood on his principle and he never let anybody shake it. Those are the same people that are going to be doing that because hindsight is when they're going to be like, oh man, I guess I was wrong. They don't give a fuck about being on the right side of history though. No, they don't. If they did, then they would understand that treating everyone equally would be the right side of history. They all want to talk. Everybody who is against Colin Kaepernick right now want to talk about how he's taking a knee and how he's not standing for the anthem, but they don't want to talk about the reason he's not standing for the anthem, the reason that he took the knee. They don't want to talk about that, because if they talk about that, then they have to admit that maybe being black in America isn't amazing. Now, don't be mistaken. I love America. Only in a country like America can I talk this shit like this. You think I could talk this shit in North Korea? You think if I was talking this monkey shit in North Korea, you think that they would just let me cook like this? Somebody would come knock on my door the second I posted this video, right? But I can call Donald Trump a bitch ass nigga. He ain't gonna do shit. He gonna suck my dick. He ain't gonna do nothing. But be at home and be orange and have horrible, horrible hair. And I can do that because I'm American. And that's what the fuck I love. And let me be even more frank about my feelings about America. Even though it's not great, you know what I mean, for black people, we are treated differently. We are killed in the streets. And then, oh my goodness, we're killed in the streets. And then a policeman will kill us and get off. And the counter argument to that is, well, black people get killed every day by other black people in Chicago and in other places. Like, who gives a white people get killed by white people every day? So what? What the fuck does that got to do with anything? We're talking about the people who are in place to protect us are murdering us. Murder. My hands are empty. My hands are in the air. I'm laying on the ground. I'm struggling because you're choking me. I'm 6'2", 240 pounds. You don't think I worry about leaving my house and knowing that I could not come back on some horse shit because I stopped at the gas station and I look like a suspect on some shit? Because that's what happens. Somebody tried to say some funny shit when this whole Kaepernick situation came down the pipe. They was like, well, they posted a meme. And the meme was of Colin Kaepernick standing with his two white parents. The two white adopted parents I spoke about earlier. And the meme said, oh, here's Colin Kaepernick being oppressed by the white man again. Oh, wait, those are just his parents. And I asked, I said, does that mean he didn't have to walk around being a 6'4" black dude his whole life because he got two white parents? Do they not understand how this works? Like, I have people who are almost as smart as me, who are my age, who we share all the same interests, but we somehow have extremely different views on the police and politics and things like that. And I wasn't raised poor. I had money. My family was fine. We were never hungry. Okay? So that's not the issue. It's not about, I was still black though. I still had to leave my house black in America. That's what I'm saying. No matter how much money my family had, or how many bedrooms we had, or how many bathrooms, or whether or not we had a jacuzzi, when I walked out the house, I was a 6'2" black dude and could die anytime. And I knew that. Thank God I was smart enough to understand that. Kaepernick is smart enough to understand that. Kaepernick is trying to help change the world. And in 20 years, I hope that I'm alive to see the backtracking that the same people who are talking shit about him right now and hoping he doesn't get a job, to see the backtracking that they do when this person who has never been in trouble a day in his life and only is trying to enrich the lives of the people who look like him, when they have to backtrack on that shit and talk about how great a guy he was after they ruined his career. Understand that if Colin Kaepernick does not get a job this season, I will not be watching the NFL. And I love football. I love to watch it. Don't love to play it, but I love to watch it. But I will not be watching the NFL this season. And not because, the NFL is less entertaining, but more or less because I see that the NFL is more worried about other people being upset at them than about actually addressing the issues that are going on in the world. And I understand it's a sporting league. Cool. But the owners are in charge of this. The owner for the New York Giants came out and said he has never received more letters than he has when he considered working out Colin Kaepernick. Behind Eli Manning, who threw so many interceptions last year, it was fucking ridiculous. Eli's got 2 rings, though. I'm not shitting on Eli. What I'm saying is that he can't even be a backup in this league. A backup. A man who threw 16 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year in a year where he only played half the games. And he can't even be a backup because of the things he believes in. Not he beat his wife. Not he was doing cocaine. They cool with that. You can beat your wife and do cocaine and even fight dogs. And the Michael Vick situation is a whole other thing because I love my dog, but it's a dog. They acted like he was fighting people. They put him in federal penitentiary for 2 years. Even a felon who was in a federal penitentiary for 2 years still was in the league for another 7 years when he got out. You understand what I'm saying? And Colin Kaepernick ain't gonna get no job, And Michael Vick, I love Mike Vick, but come on, he never learned to read a defense, my dude. It's not like he was a great player when them wheels came out. He still kept getting jobs with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, are my team. I'm a big Steelers fan, but Ben was accused of some heinous shit. He still got a job. And if you bring it up, they'd be like, hey, chill. He wasn't charged with nothing. Okay, cool. Colin Kaepernick ain't been charged with anything but not standing for an anthem that he doesn't believe in. And if you listen to the national anthem and all of the verses of the national anthem, it's an extremely racist song that they want you to stand up for and salute. Like, it's not an extremely racist song. Like, we're incapable of Googling the lyrics to the national anthem. So I really want to hear the feedback on this because I started this on Snapchat and somebody suggested I make a video. Is Colin Kaepernick Muhammad Ali? Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to try to post every week, man. I'm going to start doing just the news, just updates and shit like that, just like what's going on in current events, because picking a topic is just too hard and I just get bored and I just don't do it. But please follow me on all social media at Mr. Marcus260 on Twitter and Snapchat and at Tyrion_Lannister260 on Instagram. I'll see y'all later. Boom.